So good evening to all. We have uh, we have we have discussed what we have discussed so far. We have discussed the arrangement of astrology, the arrangement of Kundli, how the spirituality is connected with the Kundli. Then the most important part for an event to be identified is a promise. So a person, if he is having a promise, then we have seen a method with which we can at least see the promise of an event in a person's life. That is called as Bhava Bhavesh Karak Paddhati. So in order to check the promise, the Bhava Bhavesh Karak Paddhati must go through a mechanism called as must go through a mechanism called as hold on, go through a mechanism called as finding a strength and auspiciousness for Bhav, Bhavesh and Karak. So with the help of that, we can actually find out a strength in terms of number and auspiciousness in terms of number, so that it will be easy for us to calculate whether a planet or a house is having strength and auspicious to offer a certain result. That is the promise. Then the second one is when the execution of promise will happen. The execution of promise will happen when it will happen when a dasha and antardasha of a planet who is signifying that house will come. So we have seen the sutras for that as well. After that, we have seen the delivery of promise with the help of transit. Okay. Now today we are going to see Shodasvarga, which is called as divisional chart. It has a very important role in analysis of any chart. So what divisional chart means? Divisional chart means when we divide a particular house with certain numbers and then check the placement of a planet in those particular houses, it gives a different reason. And there are certain sutras for it. So I have prepared the list of sutras which I am going to share with you. So the first chart, we know the D1 is the Lagna chart or a Rashi chart. It what all areas it influences? It influences the area called body, physical matter, and all about of self, means all about a person. Hora, when we divide each house by 2, so we know the degree of each house is 30. If we divide it by 2, then it will give us the Hora chart. If we divide every house by 3, then it gives siblings information. If we divide every house by 4, it gives home life and property or destiny, you can say. If we divide every house by 7, then children or progeny. If we divide every house by 9 and make a kundli, then it is called as Navamsha, and it will tell us about the wife, that is spouse or dharma, and the livelihood. Same way we can divide every house by 10, it will show us everything about career and profession. So Dwadashamsha is there, Shodashamsha will tell us the vehicle and the happiness from the vehicle. Vishamsha will tell us the spiritual pursuit or the spiritual growth of a person. Chaturvishamsha about education, learning, and knowledge. Saptavishamsha will tell us the strength and weakness of a person. Trishamsha will tell the evil, failure, bad luck, challenges, obstacles in life. Kavedamsha, maternal legacy. Akshakavedamsha, paternal legacy. And Shashtyamsha will be past birth and present and future birth, or it can be treated as a demon. There are many classes which says that you can treat it as a demon. So there must be certain rules. There has to be. There has to be certain rules which will help us in analyzing this. But why to use Shodasvarga? That is the fundamental question. So let's see. Let me explain you why do we need Shodasvarga. Okay. can see here. I'll just give a small example so that you will understand. I will make this to all workers. Okay. Now you see here we have a Dreshkan. Dreshkan will tell us about brothers and sisters. So what I told you that if we divide every house by 3, because Dreshkan is D3, so we have to divide every. I'm just telling you the simple calculation. We don't need to do this calculation. This has come by default in all the software. You don't need to worry about it. But at least you should know how these charts are being prepared. So that's the reason I'm just giving a small example. You see the example here. We have a house. This is of 30 degree. Every house is of 30 degree, correct? And we want to divide it by 3. So this is the first division and this is the second. Is there any planet in this house? Currently there is no planet. But what is the degree of ascendant? The first part is between 0 to 10. Second part is 11 to 20. And the third part is 21 to 30. So the first house is finished. There is no planet, but we have an ascendant here. So if we have an ascendant here, what is the degree of ascendant? It is 8 degree 25 minutes. In which partition it comes? It comes in first partition because the first partition range is 0 to 10 degrees. Second partition starts from 11 and goes up to 20. The third partition starts from 21 and goes up to 30. So you can see similarly, based on that, a Dreshkan house will automatically come. Similarly, you can see the moon. The moon is 10 degrees 6 minutes. So it has crossed the first partition. It has gone into the second partition. Because it has gone into the second partition, it is appearing in 11th Rashi in Dreshkan. So these are the rules. You can just search for Google and you'll find out all the rules. Okay. Similarly, for Navamsha, every house will be divided into 9 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, whatever it is. So this way, we can identify the planet coming in which portion. Accordingly, it will be placed in the Navamsha chart. Okay, this is the way it is being organized. But the fundamental question is, why do we need Shodasvarga? That's the fundamental question. So let's come back to the procedure which we have derived so far. The procedure says we have an event to check, or the promise for an event to be checked with the help of Bhavesh Karak Paddhati. Then we know the execution of a promise. Vimshottari Dasha is a timing or time slicing mechanism which we use to check the execution of promise, and finally the delivery of promise will be checked with the help of transit. But tell me, even if everything is saying yes for an event and the event is not happening, what would be the cause? So we can say that Shodasvarga and Ashtakvarga are exception rules. What do you mean by exception? So even if everything is happening as per the sequence we have been deriving so far, every step, every gateway, this is the gateway. Event of promise is the first gateway. Then if it is green, then it goes to the execution of promise. If it is green, then it goes to the delivery of promise. Then the event should happen, but it is not happening. So what would be the exceptions that we need to check, which is stopping that event to occur? These are the exception rules. Likewise, there are many, but as I promised, I will be telling the Shodasvarga and Ashtakvarga, which are very important for us. Okay. Now, let's see what it says. So as we have already discussed that every varga is having certain importance about a person's life that need to be analyzed. So for marriage, we will analyze D9. For kids, we will analyze the subkamsha, which is children and progeny. For business and job profession, we will analyze D10. So what all are the rule of exceptions? What it says, these are the rule of exceptions. What it says, the first house says the desire to varga. Varga lagna gives desire to varga. And varga lagnesh will give action taken to complete the desire. Okay. Varga lagna gives desire for a varga. Let's see how it is. First one. So when we say a desire to learn, I'll just give one example because of the time limitation. I won't be able to take example for every varga, but I'll just take an example for one varga so that you will understand because the same rule need to be applied on all the vargas. We have 12th sign in the first house, varga lagna. Varga lagna means for that varga, first house. So first house is ascended for this lagna. The Rashi is 12. What all planets are actually influencing this house? So how you will check the influence? The influence to the house will be checked with the help of below rules. Influence by aspect and conjunction is very important in divisional charts. Natural Shubh, Guru, Chandra, Purnima, Buddha, alone, and Shukra. That is Venus. And natural Ashuk planets are Rahu, Ketu, Shani, Surya, Mangal. And we all know their aspects. So we need to check whether this first house, because the first house is a desire, we need to check whether the first house is being influenced by a auspicious planet, that is naturally benefic planet, or natural malefic planet. So you can see which all planets are actually aspecting this. Jupiter is aspecting. Very good. This is a natural benefic. We are not going to talk about functional benefic or malefic here. Only natural malefic and benefic. What else? Then Saturn is also aspecting it. But Jupiter being the most powerful natural benefic planet, yes, we can say this person is having a desire to marry because ninth house speaks about desire to marriage or the relationship. So this person is having a desire to marriage. That is okay, good enough. And Saturn is there. Saturn is a natural malefic. We all know. But being a Jupiter there, Saturn will just delay. It will not cancel. If it would have been Rahu, Ketu, Mangal, or Surya, if they would have been aspecting or being placed into that house, they would have simply cancelled that desire. So the desire will itself will not be present in the person's mind to get married. Okay. So here, the Jupiter being the most positive planet, most benefic planet, natural benefic. I'm not talking about functional benefic or malefic. So it will give the desire to get married. Okay. Now check the Lord of first house. Who is the Lord of first house? Lord of first house is Jupiter. And see the influence on it. Who is influencing? Seems that no one is influencing. But Jupiter being a positive planet, it will give an action to complete that desire. Similarly, we can check for the children, whether a person wants children or not. So look at the first house of the Dreshkan Kundli or Saptamsha Kundli, because we are talking about children. So, who all are aspecting it? Or is there any planet place in it? No, only Saturn is aspecting it, and Saturn being natural malefic and introducing delay, there will be delay in the getting kids, or the person is not willing to have a kid. That is the first conclusion. Then we look for the Lord of first house, whether whether enough actions are being taken to complete that desire. So the Lord of first house is Mars. It is conjuncted with Rahu and aspected by Ketu. So it means there are no major efforts being taken to convert the desire into the fruits. Okay. Similarly, if you look at Dashamsha is for profession. So who is influencing the first house? Because first house is the desire for that particular Shodasvarga. So desire means desire to work, desire to go in profession. So who is sitting there? Rahu, which is natural malefic. Ketu is aspecting, Moon is aspecting. But if you look at more natural malefic influence is there on the first house, which will stop a person for having a desire to work. Secondly, who is the Lord of first house? The Lord of first house is Moon, because we have a Cancer sign here. So the Lord of first house is Moon, and Moon is again aspected and conjuncted by Ketu and Rahu. So it means there will be no desire and no action for the fulfillment of desire. Fine. So I hope this particular concept is clear. Now I'll take up the next sutra. There are three sutras which are very important, which says when the varga will be cancelled altogether. When the varga will be cancelled altogether. So that person will never get a result of that varga in throughout his or her life, because the varga is getting cancelled. For example, varga is getting cancelled. It means in Navamsha, if this varga is getting cancelled, this person will never be married in his or her life. If this Dashamsha is getting cancelled, means this person will never work in his or her life. If if the Shodashamsha, then that person will not be able to buy a vehicle for himself in his entire life. The Varga itself is getting cancelled. Okay, and all these are exception rules. So with our method, if the result is coming in yes, and still that event is not happening, then we need to go and immediately check whether Shodash Varga is allowing it or not, because this is the rule of exception. Okay, so we will see those rules. What it says, the first says, if the Varga Karak is in Lagna, that is called as Karko Bhavanashaya. You must have heard about it. This is a very popular sutra being discussed on many YouTube channels, but actually it needs to be applied in Shodashvarga. So, who all are the Karkas of Varga? For D2, the Karka is Jupiter. For D3, the Mars and Jupiter both are the Karaka of D3, that is Dreshkan. Then D4, it is Mars and Saturn. D7, it is Jupiter. D9, it is Venus, because Venus governs the marriage. D10, Sun and Saturn. D12, Sun and Moon. D16, Venus. D24, Mercury and Jupiter. D27, Mars. And D30, Saturn. For D40, D45, and 60, these are the higher divisions. And I have clearly mentioned that this will not have any karkas. Rajogas are applicable in division chart. Fine. So now when the varga itself will get cancelled, when the karak of varga is present is in the lagna of the varga, it will cancel the varga itself. If the varga karak is in 3 and 8, if the mahadasha and antardasha, major period lord and minor period lord, is in third and eighth house, then during that particular mahadasha and antardasha, the person will not get a result of that Varga. So we'll just quickly take an example of it. Let me see if I can give the example of all three. At least I should be able to give it. Here, Navamsha is seen for marriage, relationship, and marriage. Okay, that we all know. This is the Shodasvarga. This is called D9 or Navamsha. The Karak of Varga, the first rule. Remember, Karko Bhavanasha. Varga Karak is in Lagna. Varga Karak, Venus is the Karaka of this Navamsha and placed in the first house. Can this person get married? No, there is a cancellation of Varga. So this person will not get a happiness from the marriage. Okay, so I'm just correcting myself. Initially, I said there will be cancellation of Varga. Now I am saying there will be no happiness from this Varga altogether. This person get married, he is staying away from his wife for almost 20 or 25 years for some or other reason. Okay, so there is no married happiness. But in most of the chart, you will see if the Karaka of the Varga divisional chart is placed in first house, it is a cancellation of it. Secondly, if this Varga is placed in, if this Karaka is placed in third house and eighth house, still the Varga will get cancelled. Second rule. Third is when a planet's Mahadasha and Antardasha, Lord, if that is placed in third and eighth house, like Moon and Mercury. So whenever there is a Moon Mahadasha or Moon Antardasha or Mercury Mahadasha and Mercury Antardasha, that person will not get happiness from married life. Okay, these are the three important rules. We'll quickly take the questions because I need to jump to the Ashtak Varga. Yeah, go ahead. Any questions? I have opened the chart, or do you want me to open? Hold on. But just ensure that you guys will ask the question and mute yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you please explain the Mahadasha, Antardasha, the last part again?
Yeah, what I said is, see, the rule says, if the Mahadasha Swami and Antardasha Swami are in third and eighth house in that Varga.
Okay.
Okay. So it will cancel the result of that Varga. What it means?
Okay, clear.
Assume this person is having a Jupiter Mahadasha and Venus Antardasha right now. Correct?
Yeah.
So if Jupiter and Venus or Venus is placed in third and eighth in Navamsha, this is the third house of Navamsha and eighth house of Navamsha, then there will be no happiness from marriage itself during that period of
Okay.
Okay.
So it is only about happiness, not cancellation of marriage.
No, it is not a cancellation. But ultimately, what happens in this situation? If it is a good or a healthy cancellation, then the person will go to some other city for the project, or maybe some other country to the project. So there is a separation, but that's a healthy separation. If it is not, if the planet itself is having a low strength and inauspicious, then there will be a forceful separation.
Okay.
From wife. That will happen. And I have already taught you how to calculate the auspiciousness and strength of a planet, right?
Right.
So, what else? Any other question? But this is an exception rule. Always remember, I am teaching exception rule. If we have a green signal from our promise, execution of promise, and delivery promise, and still the event is not happening, in that case, we will be using this. or rather we will definitely use it before giving a prediction to a person. Otherwise, we will fail as an astrologer.
So in this particular chart, sir, the Jupiter is aspecting the Venus. Am I right, sir?
Yeah,
So
it is
then,
aspecting.
there's a possibility of the
That's
negative.
the reason marriage has happened. That's what I told. No? That's the reason marriage has happened. This Kundli has come to me because the moment this Kundli come, I asked him, "Are you married or not?" He said, "Yes, I am married." But then I asked him, "Do you have a question about yourself and your wife?" He said, "Yes."
Okay.
He said, "I have been married for 20, 25 years, but we are not staying together for one or other reason. He is in London and then wife is in some other place in Bangladesh or something. He's a Bangladesh."
That may be the reason why Jupiter retrograde may be the reason for that.
Jupiter, forget about retrograde. Jupiter being the natural benefic planet, he
Yeah.
aspected the
Yeah.
first house. So given a marriage, but there is no happiness from the marriage. It is almost
Okay.
a separation.
Right. Okay, understood. Thanks.
Okay.
So regarding the dasha rule, it's only applicable for that dasha, right? So
Varga.
out of
Dasha
that,
for the Varga. For that Varga. Let me just.
yeah. So like if you were in sun dasha, then it'll be okay, right? Then the event could still happen.
Sorry, please come again.
Like if the person then went into from Jupiter or maybe Rahu dasha they went into after that, then the event could happen, right? Because the
Yeah,
Rahu.
obviously, definitely. You see here, currently Jupiter and Venus is being run, correct? So it is giving a good relation, good thing for Navamsha. But Venus being there, it has cancelled the Navamsha itself. What about Dreshkand? Dreshkand, it is good. All the younger siblings or elder siblings of this person, they are having a very good time right now. Because Venus is placed in Lagna in Dreshkand and Jupiter is in second house. It is not in 3 and 8. Correct?
Okay.
Similarly, Jupiter is in 12th house in Chaturthamsha, but Venus is in first house. So can he buy the house? No, he cannot buy the house because Jupiter is in 12th house. It is not a good house. The good houses are 1, 5, 9. That is Trikona, and then the Kendra. Simple. So likewise, in different areas of your life, that particular dasha and antardasha will act differently. You can buy a house, but then your sisters and brothers will be having problems. You will be having challenges with your parents. Something similar, because we have these different pillars of our life, right? So a particular dasha and antardasha, how it will be acting in each area of life that will be given by a Shodasvarga. That's it.
Okay, so and for the event to happen as per the dasha system, first the Mahadasha has to show the promise, right? If Mahadasha, so is it possible that Mahadasha doesn't show the promise and Antardasha shows the promise? Then we don't look at it like that, no?
No, we definitely look at. See, the thing is the activation of house will be given by both Mahadasha and Antardasha.
But
So
if
even if
Mahadasha,
the even if the Antardasha Lord is powerful, then it can definitely give an event.
even if Mahadasha doesn't show,
That's okay. That is okay, na?
but then we can go all the way down to that Sukshma and all that, and then
No. That authority is only given to Antardasha, not the Pratyantardasha.
only up to Antardasha. Okay,
Yeah.
then it's clear. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough. So we are good with this. We will go to Ashtakvar.